I know I'm throwing out a lot right here, and if
it is a lot.
And if you're confused, you probably shouldn't
You're not
be.
alone.
Yeah.
It's a story that never dies, seemingly challenges to California's emission standards. We had the president stepping in earlier this month, and now the U.S. Supreme Court is in the conversation. Also in the conversation, Tyson Fisher. He's been covering the issue for Landline Magazine and joins us now. Tyson, good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
This is like the new BOI, the new Beneficial Ownership Information situation. It never seems to go away. We had SCOTUS on Friday making a decision. Let's talk about what that decision was related to, I suppose, is a good starting point.
First of all, it was a 7-2 decision, so pretty solid majority here. And so what is happening? So here's what the case is. So this is a challenge to Advanced Clean Cars 1. That was, I believe it was enacted in 2012. It affected model year 2015 to model year 2025 cars. Similar to Advanced Clean Cars 2, which the president just recently struck down. We could probably talk about that in a little bit.
Yep.
But essentially, this lawsuit was brought on by fuel producers, not the automakers, but those who produce the fuel, saying that this was an unconstitutional EPA waiver. To start this Advanced Clean Cars 1. But what happened was the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals dismissed the lawsuit on the idea that these fuel producers didn't even have standing to sue. Basically saying you can't even file this lawsuit. Basically what they said.
Yeah.
They took it to the Supreme Court, brings us to where we are now, to where the Supreme Court reversed that Court of Appeals decision and said, the fuel producers can move forward with this lawsuit that, again, challenges the EPA waiver for Advanced Clean Cars 1.
The question about timing, I think, is an important one here because this waiver, this, allowance to do this was basically going to expire anyway, or maybe already had expired, right?
So, again, this affected up to model year 2025.
Right.
That's where we are now.
Right.
I think they pointed out in the decision that vehicle manufacturers are going to be taking orders for model year 2026 by fall.
Right.
So all this is going to sunset in the coming weeks and months.
So why do it, I guess?
So why do it?
Right?
And so there was, in the dissent, Justice Jackson pretty much acknowledged as much, basically saying even when this gets kicked back down to the lower court, it's going to be moot.
Yeah.
So what's the point in doing this? And then, it's a legitimate question, but the majority didn't see it that way, and they felt that they needed to expedite this and then kind of allow them to move forward with the lawsuit. But that's the other thing is, the only thing that the Supreme Court allowing is just them to move forward with the case, and so it could go sideways for them as we hear on the merits of the case. So we don't know how that's going to end.
And this also raises, I guess, the question of the greater mission there in California with these emission standards, because we did have a few weeks ago, the president signed those resolutions essentially removing the waiver, essentially saying you can't put these into effect. We've got this Supreme Court decision now. When you put it all together, it really has been a blow for California's efforts on this front, right?
It really has, and it's been just confusing, but so to say the least. But where we stand right now is that the EPA waivers, all the EPA waivers that have been in place are no longer in place. So Advanced Clean Cars, again, Advanced Clean Cars 1 doesn't matter, it ends this year. But Advanced Clean Cars 2 and Advanced Clean Trucks, that has been struck down through the Congressional Review Act by Congress and subsequently the president. But what this lawsuit, what many people thought this lawsuit could do is, if the fuel producers were to win this lawsuit, it could have a trickling down effect on Advanced Clean Cars 2 and Advanced Clean Trucks and what the EPA waivers and those regulations would mean. So if basically if Advanced Clean Cars 1 waiver was struck down by the court, that same logic could apply to Advanced Clean Cars 2 and Advanced Clean Trucks. But now that those have since been struck down through the Congressional Review Act, maybe that would be rendered moot. And so we kind of have, a 1-2 punch here, as you pointed out, with a punch coming from the courtroom and a punch coming from, the federal government itself, from the legislative branch and the executive branch. Kind of what we're going to see is, first of all, we're going to see where this lawsuit goes, but then we also have the pending lawsuits against the Congressional Review Act resolutions with advanced clean cars 2 and advanced clean trucks. And so I know I'm throwing out a lot right here, and it
is a lot.
And if you're confused, you probably should
You're not alone.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I mean, but the takeaway, the bottom line here is like this: right now, these waivers are not being applied.
Right.
But that can change depending on how the courts end up ruling in the coming months and years.
It would seem, though, based on what we're seeing and have seen, at least in recent months, that whatever those decisions are going to be, I'm not going to predict. I know you won't either. But it would seem to be that we're leaning toward not letting California kind of do this.
We are moving closer to consumer choice outside of regulations when it comes to electric vehicles.
Free
correct?
market, consumer choice, all of that stuff that we've been talking about here for a number of weeks. But yeah, doesn't look good. I'm sure, California's not happy about the way things have been going in recent weeks. I think that is safe to say for sure. Tyson Fisher, we are happy in recent weeks to have you. I'm not sure. I was trying to make it clever there. But anyway, Tyson, we appreciate your time. Appreciate you making sense of all this because it is confusing, and we'll see you again soon.
Hey, thanks for having me.